Good morning, intuitives. Sorry it's been a few days. It's been a lot of back and forth between me and my attorney the past couple days, and what can you do? When stuff's advancing, stuff's advancing. If he calls, kind of everything else comes to a halt for at least that time being. But I've been thinking about some narcissistic stuff and read a few articles the past couple days, and it made me want to do a more in-depth video of why narcissists, or people with narcissistic tendencies at least, target INFJs, and why we're targeted more per capita, so to say, because we're such a rare personality type, yet most of us have had negative interactions with narcissists, and I want to get into why that is. So remember, anyone of any background can be a target of narcissistic abuse and be targeted by a toxic person. Yes, as INFJs, we are a rare personality type, and we're surprisingly overrepresented by, by victims of narcissists. There's per capita, we're overrepresented. We're 1.5% of the population, and much higher than that in terms of people who say, yes, I have dealt with a narcissist. Now, this, my first thought at this didn't make much sense because as INFJs, we're very authentic people, perhaps the most authentic, and we tend to shy away from, very grandiose, very fake people. So how does this come to be? I mean, I've been avoiding those kind of people since I was a kid, long before I knew anything about narcissistic abuse. But if you take a closer look, it actually makes a lot of sense. So, narcissists love to surround themselves with people whom they view as unique and special. As my friend John Atack said, narcissists, in order to help recruit other people into their circle or their cult, they like to use what he calls empowered empaths. And being INFJs, most of us fall under the category of empathic. And we're also very well spoken, very intelligent, so that we tend to be major targets for narcissists because they feel like they can use us to their advantage. If they can get us under their spell, we make good lieutenants for them, so to say. So, there are some other major reasons why, sadly, INFJs often fall victim to a narcissist at least once. We usually want learn from that mistake, and that's a really important thing. Don't beat yourself up for the past. It only leads to madness, but do everything you can not to repeat the past. You're an INFJ, you know how to notice patterns. Trust your intuition. So, another one, and one of the main reasons why we often fall victim to a narcissist is our views on love. We are not casually dating type people. We are not friends with benefits type people. We are idealists looking for that ideal romance. And the narcissist will use love bombing and put on a mask to make the narcissist appear to be that ideal person that the INFJ is looking for. This was done to me once. I was with a narcissist once in late 2012, early 2013. This was a few years before I knew anything about narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic abuse, any of this. I was 25. I didn't know. I was working too much and not sleeping enough, so wasn't on my game intuitively either. So, why does this happen? As INFJs, we're highly perfectionistic. Ooh, I said that right today. And idealistic. We do not settle for anybody. We know what we're looking for and won't settle for anything less. As I said, we're not the type of people to just get involved with somebody to just not be alone. That's just not who we are. It wouldn't be authentic, so we couldn't fake our way through it, and it wouldn't be fair to that other person. So, the narcissist in a love bombing scenario, they excel at creating alluring false persona based on what they think we, the INFJ, wants in a partner. At the onset, they are very talented wordsmiths. They'll learn about our interests. They'll engage us in those deep conversations one-on-one, which we so love. That's what the one did to me. She'd be in a group of people, and she would pull me aside to talk to me one-on-one, and we'd laugh together, and conversations would get real deep, and she would cry, and I was suckered right in. So, they are very smooth talkers, narcissists in the love bombing techniques as well. They know what to say, how to say, when to say it. There is a reason why, well, for a couple reasons why, very talented actors tend to be narcissistic, not in all cases, but in some. Obviously, narcissists are drawn to the spotlight, fame, and fortune, but also that given ability that they can easily pretend to be somebody that they're not. A lot of people can't do that. INFJs can't do that very well. So, in this love bombing thing, this person will get to know you, and narcissists are usually pretty intelligent. They'll get in your head. They'll figure if you can be useful to them, they will emulate the things that you are looking for in another person in order to manipulate you and use that to their advantage. Obviously, we pick up on this at some point usually. We are heavy oriented towards communication, and by words of affection and affirmation, we find ourselves trapped by this emotional bait in love bombing. So it's only after time does an INFJ start to see who the person really is, because the narcissist, like most liars, they can only keep the facade going so long. The mask begins to slip, the cracks begin to show, and over time, we will see that person for who they really are, and slowly, sadly, accept that everything that was between the two of you was a lie. And that is harder than you think it is, because INFJs and most people don't want to admit that we were fooled, don't want to admit that we've been played, that we've been taken advantage of. So you may justify this at the time and think, no, like they're just damaged. That good person is really underneath there, and I'm the person who can bring that out of them. I'm the person who can make them the person that they actually want to be. And INFJs are often victims of that. ENFJs more so. You'll get your own video on why narcissists target you, because you're even more common of a target than us. So it's important in this love bombing scenario to remember to trust your intuition, to notice the signs. Don't ignore red flags. If something seems too good to be true, or if you're being played, there could be a reason for that. It could be for real, to be honest, but listen to the people around you as well. We're not the greatest at that. If a bunch of other people are telling you stuff about this person independently of each other, and they all seem to add up, and what they're telling you seems to contradict the persona this person is trying to display to you to win your affection, probably listen to them. I know, especially when you're in your mid-20s, you think you know everything, and we can see things that others can't. But you at least have to take that knowledge into account. If everybody around you is warning you about this person, and they have a well-known pattern of behavior of taking advantage of people, that's probably what they're doing to you. Very, very likely. And you need to at least take that into account and understand the potential danger that you're getting into. Understand, and you might say the hell with it and feel you can save the person, but you might just be their next victim in being played, and intuitives aren't always the best at accepting information like that. Another major reason why we are often targets of narcissists, as I mentioned, for narcissists are always looking for empathic partners, people with compassion, integrity, and conscientiousness to exploit. INFJs have all these qualities, and ENFJs you too, plus you struggle to say no, so that makes you their favorite target, but again, own video. Manipulators, narcissists, do not usually target those without empathy, talent, and resources. Like I said, you have to be useful to them. They see an end game with you. You are a pawn in their game. They see you as a tool they can exploit to get them to their end game. Make money off of you, get off on exploiting you, all kinds of reasons. They exploit people with strengths and talents so they can use them for their own advantage. They feed upon those who are willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and who are willing to see their perspective. however toxic it may be. In this scenario, the narcissist, this could be relationship or work, the narcissist will simply tell you that you have to put up with this behavior. You can't say no to what they're doing. This is a rite of passage. This is part of the deal. This is something that everybody has to go through. It is what it is. It's what you signed up for. Everything will be okay in the end, but if you challenge them, it'll all go away and you'll never get to the end game that you, the victim, are trying to get to. As INFJs are notorious for our warmth and love and helping others, even to the point of trying to fix them. Oh, yeah. Like getting a girl in the nursing school who's sleeping with a drug dealer and using you is just an example. We are highly visible in the aspect of showing our generosity and empathy towards others, and this is like a signal to the narcissist, like, they'll be useful. I can use them. I'll convince them they're helping people. I'll convince them that they're helping me. They like to help people. They have empathy. I can use that. So that is usually how it goes with that. They will put you in a position where you feel like you are a part of the greater good. Like I said, this narcissistic tactic is most often seen really in cults, trying to get people sucked into cults and make them think like that being a part of that cult, they're helping mankind. They're doing something that will make people's lives better, when really they're most likely just exploiting them and or exploiting money out of them. Like I said, read John's book, A Piece of Blue Sky, on Scientology. He gets into why narcissists target empaths and cults target empaths in a much greater depth and much better vocabulary than I ever could. But unfortunately for toxic narcissists, INFJs do eventually stop trying. Once we've seen the contempt behind the narcissist mask far too many times, we see who they really are, that mask slips too many times, and our intuition finally clicks in, and we put the pieces together, and we realize that we were being exploited and used, and that we should have spoke up long ago. Then we feel embarrassed. Yeah. But please understand, when you do catch on, it is your duty to speak up. It is your duty, if you've been abused, exploited, bullied, what have you, to speak up. Because A, it's empowering to speak about your abuse, that you take the power back from them. They no longer, you take away their ability to be like, well, I'll tell, everybody what you did and what you put up with, and, you'll be embarrassed. No, don't let them embarrass you with that information. Let that information expose what a scumbag they are and rip off their mask for good. Therefore, and this is my second point on this, more importantly, you expose them who they are, it makes it much, much harder for them to have future victims. And as INFJs, as empaths, we don't want other people to have the bad experiences we did. That's often why we speak up, in order to change the status quo and cause positive, progressive change. So, even if you got played, don't let them keep the power over you forever. Speak up and expose them for who they really are. So, my third big point that I wanted to make, and I have notes again, because I don't want to miss things when I go off on a sidebar like this. An INFJ's intuition, as I mentioned, is sharp and discerning, but their sensitivity can and will be used against us. Since INFJs tend to be highly intuitive and sensitive, we pick up on, quote, micro signals of danger pretty quickly. You know that feeling in your stomach? I've gotten it long before I knew what an INFJ was. That, weird feeling where it just feels like something doesn't feel quite right. Like, something's wrong. You don't necessarily know what it is, but, you have that, I wouldn't say fight or flight, but that, caution mode. Something doesn't feel quite right. You have to listen to that when you're dealing with narcissists, and not ignore it. People will tell you maybe to ignore it, but it's usually right. Could be wrong, though. We are somehow sensitive when somebody is inauthentic. We can sense, pick up on facial cues, changes in people's tone of voice, mannerisms, when they're being inauthentic. In other words, we can spot a liar. We're kind of in a little bit, but not really, like a human lie detector. We know this on a subconscious level due to how our brain works. However, because we are often gaslighted, and watch my video on gaslighting, we start to doubt these senses, these abilities in us. Gaslighting is the number one tool of pretty much any narcissist, and it is often used very commonly against intuitives, like especially INFJs, to discredit us. Because a lot of times, if we're not the narcissist target, and they're, say, targeting somebody that we care about, we will be the first one to speak up. And that narcissist knows that we're right. That narcissist will do everything in his or her power to discredit us and make us look like jealous or envious, something like that. And that is usually how things, this point I'm making now is like the number one interaction between INFJs and narcissists. They don't like us. They know we know who they are. And they're not used to encountering us because there's just not that many of us. But they need us. They need to discredit us and get us to question our own intuition. A lot of them, they're like the ultimate salesman. They can wheel and deal with the best of them. They're often charming, and in times, especially in a more workplace setting, they have great command presence, which is going to get its own video because it's a big thing to do with bullying. So just remember command presence and look for a future video. So a narcissist needs to make us doubt ourselves, needs to make other people doubt us, doubt our integrity, doubt our authenticity, and that's something we hold really, really important as INFJs. So that'll often send us into an INFJ rage, calling that person out. And then the narcissist will just try to get us labeled as crazy. That was their game all along. It's like, this person has integrity. How do I discredit them? Well, I'll use projection and say they're the ones lying. They're the ones being inauthentic. That'll flip a switch in them. They'll rage out on me. Yes, they're going to expose who I really am, but I'll just label them bipolar. Even though I'm a secretary and not a psychiatrist. This is, actually happened to me. That is the number one thing. Those that are exploiting people, those that are using people, will try to do to the INFJ who tries to call them out. They will try to get you labeled as crazy so that nobody will listen to us, and their little status quo, exploitation wheel can keep on spinning with them on the top and them using other people for whatever means they're exploiting people for, be it monetarily, sexually. Usually it's all of them, but so that's something to look out for. Trust your intuition when you're dealing with people like this. There is irony in this, in that while narcissists try to act intuitive at times, it's all surface level. It's all bravado. They are frightened of who they really are. They are frightened of that person that they really are being exposed, and that's the number one thing an INFJ can use against them. Just do the best you can if you're in this situation to keep your cool and just state bullet point facts. We usually have great memories. Call them out on times where they've contradicted things they've said. They can't answer for that. Call them a hypocrite. They can't answer for that. But they will do everything in their power to get you to fly into a rage, so they will try to label you as crazy. So just know, yes, being a fairly common target of a narcissist is part of being an INFJ. Trust your intuition when dealing with them. That's your most powerful weapon. Don't let them put you into a rage, and don't sell out your integrity trying to stop them. Just tell the truth, keep calm, ask them questions calmly that they can't answer.